Hello everyone and welcome back to another book video by me, Spooky Zoe. As you can see, background is a little bit different because I moved, so things are gonna be a little weird now. If you are on my Twitch channel, I'm now gonna be streaming 3 times a week. Tuesdays and Saturdays still at 5 p.m. EST, and I'm gonna add in Thursdays at 11 a.m. EST. So, if you guys would like to join up and see what's happening, that would be lovely. I'll still also be posting my daily shorts on YouTube, Twitch, Instagram, and TikTok, along with having my Blue Sky up as well. But without further ado, let's get into my July book reads. So, for July, things were a little weird. Also, this overlay looks weird. I apologize. Try to do my best. I'll fix it for next time, hopefully. So we didn't really get to see a lot. I'm gonna zoom in so you guys can see a little bit more. Beautiful. So we have July here. I only read 4 books in July. It was not a lot because my partner was over hanging out with me for a week, so I read much that week, and also I was packing everything that I own and moving. So it was a lot to do. So we only read 4 books, but we'll get into the books later. I did 318 pages and 32.03 hours. My average time to finish a book was about 9 days, and for my moods, we had some light-hearted books. We had some adventurous, some funny, some mysterious, some hopeful and emotional, and a dark. Things were a little weird this month. As I'll say, this will probably be a quicker video because some of my book stuff just didn't really work out this month like I wanted it to. But we'll get into that a little bit later. For my pace, I read 1 book that was fast, 3 books that were medium. Tried to keep it with my pace. Excuse me, they usually do. Page number, 1 book was between 300 and 499 pages, per usual. My audiobook length, month 3 that I read, was right in my sweet spot of 8 to 16. I read 4 fiction books. No nonfiction books got through this month, which is kind of sad because I've been trying to get through that. But I give myself a little bit of a break because I wasn't able to do a lot due to my move. For our genres, we have 3 of them are romance, 3 of them are fantasy, 2 of them are queer. Then we have a middle grade, a classic, a young adult, a graphic novel, and a contemporary. For my tags, I just added them now, but 3 of these books were Libby's. We'll talk about them in a little bit. And then 1 of them was from my actual local library. For my format, I did 1 print and 3 audio. As I said, it was a difficult month. Excuse me. It was a difficult month, so not a lot of stuff was happening there. Everything was in English. And then we have 2 3-stars, a 4-star, and a 4.5-star, with an average of 3.63. For this, you can see I wasn't reading a lot at the beginning of the month because my partner got here around 4th of July and I was cleaning and whatever. We went up a little bit while he was here. We'll talk about that. And then it kind of went down again. And then we shot up on a Mittens Listen Day. Fun fact, it's the day my Libby stuff was due. And then we went down for like a whole week to like barely anything because your girl was packing. And then I was packing again. And then I had my road trip back. So we had a lot of audiobook listening time. But if we look at my calendar, this is a little blown up. So let me back out a little bit. We had pretty consistent. The day I read the most was on excuse me, the 18th, 530 minutes. I was doing fast pace. With honestly, like second place, revving up the gear on the last day of July, I read a bunch. So we didn't have a lot to do. See 4 books. But we're gonna get into what books I read. So first one we have is Heartstopper Volume 5. I had been waiting for this to be on Libby. As you guys know, if you watched my other videos, I was really trying to read the 5th one. I started the series in January. I read the first one and kind of just read them as they came available. I was waiting for the 5th one. I found out my local library had it physically. So I had to go to the lab and do some stuff. So I was like, oh my god, let me just go grab it. Grabbed it and read it in like a few days. Beautiful, stunning, really heartwarming. If we look at the review, we have, oh, I'm less than 100. Whoopsies, there we go. We see I gave 4.5 stars. It's a cute little update on Nick and Charlie. I love that Charlie is finding his confidence and Nick wasn't afraid to be himself. I want to watch the series now because it's so cute. I made myself a promise that I was not going to watch the series or watch the movie until I finished the books. As we'll talk about at the end, I do have Heartstopper Volume 6, the one that just came out, and I'm going to read it soon. So then I'm going to do like a whole watch the series, watch the movie, and probably cry my eyes out because I've been told I will cry my eyes out. For some content warnings, we have graphic depictions of eating disorder, mental illness, and sexual content, moderate bullying and self harm, and then minor homophobia and alcohol. Excuse me. I was giggling and kicking my feet a little bit as a queer person who was reading this. It was the first time they were intimate. It was really cute and like high school vibes. I thought I was going to get weirded out by it because like I'm an adult, they're like 16, 17 years old, but I wasn't, just because it was like that kind of like, it wasn't explicit to the point where I had to be weirded out, but it was like, aw, they finally got to love each other, and it was just so cute. But if you've not read Heartstopper, please do. I also wanted to read Alice Oseman's other book, the one about Charlie's sister. I want to read that one so bad, but I haven't found that anywhere yet, so I'm kind of trying to find it. But next, we had Apparently Sir Cameron Needs to Die by Greer Suthers and Dan Calley. So, I was told from everyone who recommended this to me, this was like a funny, weird, queer fantasy romance. I got kind of icked out at some points, and I don't know if it's just because I was really stressed. Oh, this is also a new release. I didn't realize this was first published this year. I'll have to add my little new release tag to it. Um, we'll talk about it when I talk about my review, but basically, I was surprised by this book. It was okay. The queer rom-com energy was cute, but Cameron did get annoying about 30% into the book. Jokes were made that made me cringe or uncomfortable. There's a lot of stuff about women, and like I said, it could have been just I was not in the right headspace to read this book. I was very stressed out. I kind of liked the like whole allegory of like Sir Cameron turns into a woman and like we go through all this. Excuse me. I feel like I just need to read this again because I feel like it wasn't enough of a book to grab my attention, but also my attention was like divided so much with packing and everything. So I feel like that's kind of the reason why it was a little weird. I might read it again next year, but I think I'm gonna put that down for right now. But content warnings, we have graphic death, violence, and blood. Obviously, we're in like fantasy, like think Ren Fair era. Moderate homophobia, sexual harassment, and war, and then minor sexual content, transphobia, and abortion as well. The next book I read was Howl's Moving Castle. I had watched the movie a couple years ago, either last year or the year before, I can't remember, and I had wanted to read the book because I had been told. Oh my god, I'm so sorry for yawning. I had been told that this book was amazing and it was stunning and you need to read it if you've seen the movie. So I was like, oh my god, let me read it. And as you can see, I gave it a 4-star review. It makes sense that Studio Ghibli adapted this book because this book is super, super, super whimsical. I could picture everything that was happening, and it kind of felt like I was a kid at bedtime while I was reading it, and like I don't get that feeling very often. So I was very excited. I like Sophie's stubborn and hardworking nature as well as Hal being very dramatic. He was more dramatic in the book than he was in the movie, which I found really freaking hysterical. I want to read this again to like go like more deep into it because I kind of just read it as like a surface level, this is cute type of book. I want to like back into like the nitty gritty of reading. But for my content warnings, we had graphic body horror, confinement and kidnapping, moderate death, violence and murder, and then minor death of a parent, alcohol, and war. And then for the final book I read, I was kind of on a like knights and like Renaissance mood, I thought, and then I wasn't. So, I read The Night in the Moth by Rachel Gillig, narrated by Samantha Heidston. I was really looking forward to this book. I feel like, again, I just read it in the wrong time for me. I started this a few days before I started moving, and then I finished it like the day after my move. So it wasn't really like something I could just sit there and like read and like sink into. It was very much a I need some background while I pack and something needs to calm me down. Let me put on an audiobook because this one expires soon. Which that is my fault, I understand. I would like to read this again. I liked everything I read about it. I really did. I love moody gothic settings. I loved the like lady night aspect of it, and I've heard a lot of people say they love the lady night aspect of it. But let's look at my review. I said, I was moving, I was not in the headspace to pay attention to the book as much as I wanted. I will reread and give this a better review because I just wasn't in the headspace. If you ask me what I remembered about this, I didn't remember much. I probably couldn't even tell you the main character's name. I just remember there's a lady knight and there's something about how she blackmails someone into taking care of her, taking care of someone. I read it. This is like the first book I've read in a while where I do not remember anything about it. So I know I need to go back and read it again because I don't like doing that to books. But like I said, I think I just wasn't in the headspace to read. For some content warnings, we have graphic death, sexual content, and violence. We have moderate blood, grief, injury, and injury detail. Then we have minor child abuse, child death, and vomit. So, with that being said, let me transition over. So, that being said, this month was kind of a low month for me. It was the lowest amount that I think I've read in a while. I only read 4 books this month, and I think if I look at my statistics, yeah, it was my lowest month since April. April, I only read 3 books, so this is almost my lowest month of the year. After June was my second highest, so maybe we need to look at some priorities and see what's going on. I will say, like I said, your girl's been booked and busy. There's been a lot going on. But I will say that I did order some books as like a pat on the back for moving. One book that I told you guys that I really wanted to read in July was the second book of the Can't Spell Treason Without Tea series, which is Pirate's Life for Tea. It's on my shelf. I didn't get to read it. I really wanted to. I also have not read a single Summerween book yet, and it is currently August 9th. It is Book Lovers Day. I need to get that situated. So I'm going to have that as well. I did order Tea with the Altar and Alchemy and a cup of tea because there was a deal on Thrift Books. I got both of them for like $5 and they're the deluxe editions. So I'm looking forward to that. Also, I wanted to read The Iron Hex by Victoria Walsh. I've been following Victoria on social media for like a year or two, and her first book came out on August 4th, so I ordered it on Thrift Books as well because I found a deal on it already. So I was very excited for that. It's like plus size main character, not freshly 18. I think she's in her late 20s or early 30s. Love it. And then I also ordered Brigands and Bread Knives. I've been wanting to read this book since it came out in November because it came out a few days after my birthday. But I'm really weird with my books. Tell me if you guys do this as well. I read books and I want them all to look the same. So I have the Legends and Lattes and the Bookshops and Bone Dust editions that are softback or paperback with the jagged edges, and I wanted to have that one for Brigands and Bread Knives as well. And the publishing industry is doing a really weird thing where they're only putting hardcovers out, and you have to wait like a year or something for the paperbacks. So I'm a little upset about that because I had to wait to read the book. I've been trying not to spoil myself, but we'll see what happens. Other than that, on my Libby, as I told you guys earlier, I have I've been reading Outdrawn by Deanna Gray. My loan finishes in 2 days, and I'm only 50% of the way through the book. So I need to get cracking on that, but it's really fun. It's about two like rival artists who are working on these comic books together. It's WLW POC. I love it so much. Then my partner and I watched Project Hail Mary the other night, and I really liked it. I have the audiobook of it, but I wanted to actually physically read it, so I also got it on Libby. So I think I'm gonna do an immersive read with that, with like listening to the audiobook and physically reading it. And then I also have a book that I put on that was recommended to me by one of my friends. Call it Death Meets Cute by or not P, J. Penner. And basically, this book is kind of set in that same like D&D type esque story. It's a romance between I think an orc and a human, or it's an orc and an elf. I can't tell, but it looks really freaking cute. And then I got Heartstopper Volume 6. I'm so excited to read that as well. I think I have a couple holds that might also come up soon. I have The Everlasting by Alex E. Harrow. I have The Curious Beginning by Deanna Raybourn. And I have a couple more, but I don't think they're gonna come in soon. But the other book that I'm going to be reading is going to be Yesteryear. I've heard a lot of people talk about it. I've seen a lot of videos on it. It is currently the book club book for Fats or Baby Back Books is book club. If you are not following Baby Back Books, please do. But yeah, I think that I'm gonna call it there maybe. So I hope you guys have a great rest of your time. I promise I'm gonna try to read some more books for next month. Um, everything is settled. We're fine. I'm moved, so we should be able to get back to regularly scheduled business. But also, like I said, if you would like to see me a little bit more, I stream on Twitch on Tuesdays and Saturdays at 5 p.m. EST. And now I'm going to be starting Thursdays at 11 a.m. EST as well. So, if you guys are around Twitch, you can go there. I also post all my VODs on YouTube as well, on this YouTube channel that you're on right now. But I hope you guys have a great rest of your day, and I will see you all again very, very soon. Bye!